What just happened? Explain to me what just happened. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm in disbelief. I'm in absolute shock right now. What the? Erik Jones and a Richard Petty Motorsports equipment won a race. Well, you wins Darlington. What? There's so many things that happened in this race. So many things happened in this race. We have to go over everything. I mean, I think more than half of the playoff field had issues. I mean, what in the world? I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm in disbelief right now. The entire, more than half of the playoff field had issues in some way, shape, or form. And then out of nowhere, Erik Jones had a top 10 car all day. But I don't think anyone expected him to win. Nor did anyone expect for all these issues to happen during the race. I mean, in the beginning of the race, in stage 1, it looked like all the Hendrick drivers just decided to just implode. While Byron was leading, he was inside the top 5 all race long for stage 1, and lap 66, he took the lead. Meanwhile, his teammates were just shooting themselves in the foot. Kyle Larson had deja vu, had a horrible night. In stage 1, he had the hood up open on his race car. They managed to figure something out with that problem. They were 3 laps down. They spent the entire time trying to recover their way back. Then with 3 to go, you had Chase Elliott by himself spins out and collects another playoff contender, Chase Briscoe, I should say, in the process. Even with the extended damage vehicle policy, 10 minutes now, still, there was so much damage internally to the car. There was a broken right rear toe link, and also the truck arm was bent. Both the top and bottom right rear truck arm was bent. The damage was too much. Chase Elliott was out of the race before stage 1 even finished, and he finished dead last. So he earned, I think, only 3 or 4 points. He went from being a for sure lock in for the round of 12 to now Chase is not even safe anymore. And yeah, William Byron won stage 1, but even then, in stage 2, William Byron reported having engine issues. That was solved. There was no issue with the engine, but Byron was reporting something weird with the car. It had Joe Gibbs Racing having issues. Denny had a solid race. He did have some issues with him getting sent to the rear due to having pit issues and things like that, pit stop mistakes, but he had a really solid car. His teammates were really good. Martrick Jr., and Kyle Busch. Stage 1 was Logano and Byron. Stage 2, it was Toyota. They came to play in stage 2. Truex had the best car, it seemed. If not, then maybe Kyle Busch. They were swapping the lead back and forth. Both would lead for a total of 203 or 367 laps. Busch led 155. Truex led 48. But those two were the class of the field. And almost instantaneously, on lap 336, when Kyle Busch passes Martrick Jr. for the lead, Truex reporting engine overheating, engine expires, he takes it to the garage, done for the day. Then a caution comes out on lap 340. Cody Ware smacks the wall in turn 2 and comes to a stop in turns 3 and 4. The caution comes out, and 2 laps later, Kyle Busch expires an engine, and he's out of the race. The guy that led the most laps, he's now out of the race. And Stewart-Haas Racing, both of their drivers had issues. Chase Briscoe, like I mentioned, was caught up in that crash with Chase Elliott, and Kevin Harvick having a solid day. He got mired back in traffic, I believe, around stage 2 after issues on pit road, but having a solid day, making his way up back towards the front, inside the top 10. Somehow, I don't know what caused it, but he just catches on fire out of nowhere. After a long time to get the caution to come out, Harvick finally gets out of his car, but man, the car just erupted into a ball of fire. With RCR, Austin Dillon was just straight up horrible. He was struggling the entire night and finished 17th, who was the second to last car on the lead lap. Daniel Suarez started at the rear he had to start on pit lane due to a pass-through penalty for him failing inspection 3 times. Then a rain delay, a couple laps of rain, was able to get back under caution, get back on the lead lap. All that stuff was taken care of, and actually had a really strong car, made his way up into the top 10, even the top 5, I think up to 3rd place was his highest position, was battling really hard and was even potentially, I thought, could maybe be an underdog to Truex or Kyle Busch. But then Daniel Suarez on lap 271 gets caught speeding, and because of that, when the caution came out, he was still under penalty, so he was not eligible to take the wave round. So he was stuck one lap down and basically spent the entire rest of the race trying to get back into position and ended up finishing 18th. And his teammate Ross Chastain also had issues with engine problems. He reported something was broken in the left rear suspension. In fact, the only thing that was the issue was the left rear drive pan, so that something with the wheel was loose or was broken. All they simply did was just change tires, I believe, or did a small little adjustment to the left rear suspension, and boom, it was fixed. The issue was he came out 4 laps down, so Chastain and he was so far into the race. It wasn't like with Kyle Larson when it happened with him. He was in stage 1. He could recover. Chastain was, I believe, right in the middle of stage 2, so it was a lot harder for him to rebound and eventually finish 20th 1 lap down. If I'm not mistaken, the only drivers that didn't have any issues or any big time issues was Logano, Denny Hamlin. Well, I shouldn't say Denny Hamlin because he had pit issues, but I believe it was Logano, Blaney, and Cindric. And maybe, I think also Alex Bowman. Bowman, I don't think he had any issues. And Reddick and Bell. That's it. Actually, I shouldn't say Ryan Blaney because after Kyle Busch expired his engine, he had to pit again for a loose wheel. So add Blaney to the list of drivers that had some form of issue. Everyone else had some type of major issue. Absolutely mental. And I mentioned Erik Jones. He had a top 10 car. And he maybe even a top 5 car. But he was running in the top 5 behind Truex and Busch. Well, we all thought that those two drivers, they were going to settle who wins this race. Well, when those two blew up, that gave the lead to Erik Jones. By the end of it, I think we had, a 12 or 10 lap shootout between Jones, Hamlin, and Reddick, and Jones was able to hold off Hamlin to go to victory lane. His first win since September, right here in Darlington. Back in the fall of 2019 was the last time Erik Jones went to victory lane, and the last time Petty Motorsports went to victory lane, or Petty GMS. You have to go all the way back to July of 2014 when Aric Almirola won at Daytona. And this is the first time that I believe the 43 car wins at Darlington since September 4th, and I could be wrong about this one, I think 1967. Yeah, it was 1967, the last time the 43 car went to victory lane at Darlington, to the day, September 4th. Unfreaking real. Now, this is what the playoff grid looked like heading into Darlington. All right, everything looks good. Now, this is what the playoff grid looks like after Darlington. Chase Elliott went from plus 33 to now plus 14 above the cut line. Logano now plus 38, Byron plus 32, Hamlin plus 30, Bell plus 28, Reddick plus 23. Then you got Blaney. Larson now plus 17. Alex Bowman plus 10, Busch plus 8. Suarez now holds the final spot plus 2 ahead of Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon minus 4, Chase Briscoe minus 10, and Kevin Harvick, who was sitting in the 8th seed plus 5, I believe, is now sitting 16th minus 13. I am still in shock from this race. First of all, the race itself, I love Darlington. Darlington produces bangers. It was great racing throughout, especially even for places mid-pack. I mean, there was an incredible battle. Somehow they didn't wreck in the middle of the pack off of turn number 2. There was this 3-wide battle between Suarez and Bell. I mean, you had just great racing overall. Great pit strategy, a lot of interesting strategies in terms of when to pit, whether to do maybe a 2-stop or 3-stop strategies during the stage. Very interesting with tire strategy. And my goodness, it always seems with Darlington, just so many playoff drivers have issues. And man, I feel for Martrek Jr. I think after what happened at Daytona, there was a lot of people, including me, that were rooting for him to get a win. And he had the car. He had the car and the drive to win. Wasn't able to get the job done. I'm just still in shock by just everything that happened. I mean, even Reddick started out the day horrible. I mean, he didn't like his car at the beginning. There were a lot of issues with his car. He managed to save it and managed to get a good finish out of it in 3rd place. I mean, let's take a look at the standings here. I mean, you got Jones winning, Hamlin, Reddick, Logano, and Bell the top 5, Michael McDowell in 6th, Brad Keselowski in 7th in an RFK car, Byron in 8th, Bubba Wallace top 10 finish for him in 9th, and Bowman a quiet top 10. Almirola. Larson, not only did he have that issue with the engine problem, but he also spun out by himself in turns 3 and 4 late in the race, manages to rebound to get a 12th place finish. Blaney 13th, Custer and Ty Gibbs the top 15. Cindric, Dillon, Suarez. They were the last drivers that were on lead lap. Everyone on back, multiple laps down. Haley and Chastain the top 20. Other notables, Corey LaJoie. Now, Corey LaJoie had a real strong car in stage 2 late in the race. He stayed out on worn tires and was actually able to hold on for quite some time with the pack. So he had a really good run there in that 7 car for in the middle of the race. Briscoe finishes 27th. Busch and Truex 30th, 31st. Kevin Harvick 33rd. And Chase Elliott finishes dead last. I love this race. I mean, 9.5 out of 10. I don't know. But this race was absolute beauty. I love this race. I mean, it had everything, in my opinion. It had great racing, great storylines, great strategy, great passing. It's Darlington. And now, next weekend, we're heading to another great Mount Half racetrack at Kansas with the playoff grid completely flipped upside down. We went from Elliott being a sure favorite or sure lock-in for the next round. He's now only 14 points above the cut line. He ain't safe anymore. In fact, I don't even say Logano's. I don't think Logano's safe. Elliott had a 33-point lead coming into Darlington. Now it's plus 14. I'm not even saying Logano is safe. Even though he has a plus 38-point lead, he ain't safe. But man, what a race that was. I'm so happy for Erik Jones and that 43 team. We now have 17 different winners in the 2022 season. I don't know what the record is in the modern era, but I'm pretty sure we're getting close to that record. I think the record is 19 in 2001 was the most amount of wins in the modern era. I could be wrong about that, but whatever the record is, we're getting close to that. And I think there's a strong chance we could see that record actually be broken before season's end in November in Phoenix. But absolute beauty of a race. I don't know what else to say. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of you had to enjoy it unless you're a Truex, Kyle Busch, Elliott. If you're not a playoff driver fan of any of the playoff drivers, then I'm pretty sure you enjoyed this race. But yeah, congratulations to Erik Jones, your winner at Darlington. What a race.